What's new on Grab It TV? Absolutely everything. We've got daily news shows, sports, weather, comedy, inspirational shows, fast cars, and a whole lot more. If you aren't watching Grab It TV, you're really missing out. It's free for you and free from censorship. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Week 8 in the National Football League. You are watching World of Matchups. My name is Dexter Reed, and I will be your host today and every single week, breaking down every single matchup in the National Football League. To my right, super producer Spencer the Wiz is back off hiatus. Spencer, say hello to the people.
I'm back, and I'm glad to be back.
Right on, man. We are so happy to have you back, man. I'm glad you're doing a lot better. So, let's talk about what happened last night in the National Football League. Thursday night football, the Green Bay Packers, they go to Arizona. I thought they stole a win. This is a game that I picked. World of Matchups is hot, taking the last, 4 out of 5 weeks on Thursday night, 5 out of 6 weeks on Thursday night. And we took the Packers plus a 6.5. I saw no possible way that the Arizona Cardinals were covering the spread. Over-under was 51. We took the over. We missed there. But the winners is what matters. Decimated off COVID injuries. Devontae Adams is out. Allen Lazard is out. Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones march up and down the field, and they stole a win last night. Aaron Jones is such a good player, isn't he, Spencer? My goodness, this guy can do it all. A guy like him, 5'9", 200, catching the ball out of the backfield, running between the tackles, a very underrated running back that doesn't get the praise that I believe he deserves. And the way that they're using him now, giving him breaks with A.J. Dillon, they're going to keep him fresh for the playoffs. This is what I'm talking about. The Packers do this every year. They run off like 7 or 8 in a row, and then they go to the playoffs and get their doors blown off. But if they can keep this momentum, they're looking good. I like Arizona, but we all know that they weren't going to go undefeated. This is a spot where they were ripe for the picking. They really should have won this game or at least had an opportunity to tie it. I just kind of felt like receiver and the quarterback weren't on the same page. Cliff Kingsbury, he needs a little bit of heat here. You know what I mean? A couple different things happened in this game. A.J. Green needed a break. Couldn't sub for A.J. Green. Hopkins is out there on one leg. I mean, you run a 4 wide receiver set. You would think that you'd be ready to have these guys rotated in and out. I never liked Cliff Kingsbury. It's either going to be him or Matt Nagy who get fired first in the NFL this year. I mean, I would put money on that. But all in all, the Packers deserve the praise here. They did what they had to do. When you have COVID and you're a mass unit all over the field and you go into a hostile environment like this one and you steal a win, you deserve all the praise. I liked the Packers. I'm kind of happy they won. Look out now. This could be the type of thing that could turn into a tailspin for the Arizona Cardinals. Can you find out who they play for me next week, Spencer? Because I don't think they really played anybody outside of the Rams to date. And while that's a signature win, like I said on my quick hitter yesterday, there's really nothing about the Arizona Cardinals that scares me. Moving forward, it'll be really interesting to see how they respond.
Looks like they play the San Francisco 49ers next week.
That's a tough game. It'll be interesting to see what the 49ers do this week because that's another team that really, really needs a win, and they're in a spot where they can get a win because the Bears are bad. Keep your eyes on what the Cardinals are doing. Wow, Aaron Rodgers, your eyes are wide open there. I love that. I just love that picture. That picture sums up everything about Thursday Night Football this year actually being good. Now, folks, you know what time it is. It is one of the best times of our show. We are going to roast the refs. Let's go.
No, God! No, God, please,
Pass is incomplete. No flag.
No!
All right, everybody, welcome to the Roast the Refs segment of World of Matchups, one of my favorites, sponsored, coming to you from Heroes Heating and Air, Medford, Oregon. This week has been egregious, like every week is. This new set of refs is terrible. They're totally giving you, the fan, the Ray Charles treatment when it comes to some of these clips. Let's run it. Let's go, Spence. What do you got for me first?
We have Kyler Murray here coming up first.
Kyler Murray. Now, this is one that, and just keep running this. This is one that a lot of people may take, issue with, thinking that this truly is, roughing the passer. Dude, Kyler Murray is like what? 5'9"? What is he supposed to do there? Tell me. What's the defender supposed to do? Kyler Murray ducks into the defender. And now that's a penalty in 15 yards. The NFL's got to get this right. That's a clean hit. The way the National Football League protects quarterbacks in this league is an absolute joke, especially when they leave the pocket. Look, if you're a quarterback and you leave the pocket, you get the same treatment as any other skilled player on the field. Now, I understand it's Kyler Murray. He's on his way to being a golden boy in this league. But you ducked into the guy. That should not be 15 yards. I'm sorry. That should not be a penalty. I'm sorry. You refs, this flag's for you. What do you got next for me, Spencer?
Looks like we are going to jump over to Myles Garrett, a missed holding call.
My goodness, this one's absolutely egregious. Now, I know Myles Garrett is an absolute monster, and he's even having like an Aaron Donald type season. But look at this hold. Look, I mean, it's like a hold, and then the guy like drops his hand. You know what I mean? This is a hold that lasted for 3 seconds right in front of the ref. You have to be kidding me here. Look at that.
That's like a no shame type of hold. It's
just kiss, dude. Just kiss the guy. Come on. How do you not throw a flag on this play? My goodness. That might be the worst hold you see in the National Football League this season. And it's Myles Garrett. Refs, you have to put some respect on this guy's name. Throw the flags. Next.
Last, we have Taylor Heineke's controversial missed touchdown call.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know about anything about this being controversial. The guy is running for the end zone, dives. How's that not a touchdown? Can somebody explain to me what universe this is not a touchdown? Now they're saying that he gave himself up, that his knee hit the ground. Forward motion into the end zone is a touchdown. When has that ever not been a touchdown? Can somebody mailbag me, somebody call me, somebody email me and tell me how that is not a touchdown? His shoulder is already crossing the plane with the ball.
I will admit, though, it was a really strange decision to do that. Like, he could have walked in.
It just makes no sense.
It's just strange.
Well, Taylor Heinecke is not good. Let's be honest. And really quickly, why hasn't this team called Cam Newton? You know what I mean? You can't tell me Cam Newton is not better than Taylor Heinecke.
Why haven't the Seahawks called Cam Newton yet?
Yeah, well, they got Geno Smith, and Geno Smith's a bum too. But in any case, all three of these plays were absolutely horrible. I mean, refs, you need to get your eyes checked. This type of stuff cannot be happening in the National Football League. One of these days, you're going to make one of these egregious calls, and it's going to cost the team a game. It's happened in the past, and it's going to continue to happen. Open your eyes and get it right. Let's go. Welcome back. Goodness, those refs drive me crazy. All right, I'm calm now. Guys, this week we're going to start implementing something new. We want to get more interactive here at World of Matchups, so we're starting a new segment called Mailbag, where you guys can text me, call me, hit me up on social media. You can email us at worldofmatchups@outlook.com. Things you want to talk about, questions you want to ask. I got 3 for you this week. This first one's from Brandon McLaughlin from Ashland, Oregon. What's up, Brandon? Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. He asked, big Seahawks fan, big 12th man fan. He said, should the Seahawks rush Russell Wilson back under the current state of the team? I say no. I think the Seahawks aren't a good team. They've got good players, but you're seeing exactly what happens to a team when their leader goes down. Geno Smith is not a competent starting NFL quarterback. I'm not so sure that Russell Wilson doesn't push himself out of Seattle. I would not be surprised. They don't give him what he needs. They've not really ever let him cook. He's had flashes where they kind of opened the playbook. But you even saw it Monday night with Pete Carroll and the 7 straight runs. And I think that has more to do with the weather and how inept the quarterback play is there. But to not include guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett for long stretches of time, even when Russell Wilson's on the field, is absolutely deplorable. I don't think they rush him back. I think this is kind of a lost year for you. You just hope that you can keep Russ happy. I mean, he's got Ciara. The family's good. He does love Seattle, but I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes his way out of there. Don't rush this guy back. Let that finger fully heal. The truth of the matter is that he's your franchise. He's your everything. You got to baby this guy and give him pretty much everything he wants. Next. Dan O'Brien from Long Island, New York, friend of the show, says, are the Mannings changing how sports are covered going forward? Absolutely. They absolutely are. Now, you got your Pam Olivers, you got your Erin Andrews, you got your Booger McFarlands. Nobody can really tell me that having Eli and Peyton break some of these broadcasts down is not better. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of the dry humor, but it really is nice, especially like what you saw when they had Marshawn Lynch come on, albeit all he did was curse and talk about drinking Hennessy.
I was watching your interview with Peyton on his Peyton Places, and I learned that before games, you had a pregame ritual where you do a shot and a half of Hennessy before the game. Did you do anything to get warmed up tonight?
Well, see, because I ain't playing, so I had a 3-shot minimum today.
And then they had a spot where Tom Brady came on, and what you saw was just true camaraderie amongst quarterbacks. That's something that's actually lost in the sport that you would never be privy to seeing if you were just sitting there listening to Chris Collinsworth or Joe Buck. And so I think they are changing how things are moving forward. I mean, it'll be interesting to check. And if you could check this too, Spencer, like what the ratings for Monday Night Football have been the last couple weeks when they've had these guys on. I mean, Eli and Peyton Manning are like NFL royalty. They've got rings. They've been more than competent quarterbacks. And it kind of reminds me of when they had Tony Romo in the booth his first year, and he was like diagnosing plays before they even happen. It gives you a new window to see the NFL through, and I think for once, when it comes to some of these Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football games, they've gotten it right. Your thoughts, Spencer?
Well, it looks like Eli and Peyton are drawing about 1.6 million viewers, so 14% of the 11 million people watching Monday Night Football usually.
You want to hear what these guys got to say? I mean, if you like football and you're into it like great football minds, why wouldn't you like this? I mean, Booger McFarland versus Eli and Peyton. You know what I mean?
I can't believe he's the Kendrick Perkins of football.
He's
Booger
horrible.
McFarland.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like they got this right, and I feel like moving forward they'll do more of the same. They just need to be careful of who they pick and choose to come on. I like Marshawn Lynch, but that was an absolute embarrassment for the NFL, and all he really did was boost Hennessy's stock. Next. Why hasn't Roger Goodell handled the Deshaun Watson and Daniel Snyder situation? Quite frankly, I think it's money. I think Roger Goodell is crooked. I do. I think there's a lot of under-the-table money happening in the National Football League. I know that there are some loopholes out there that are available to people where, like, we can't do this to Deshaun Watson because this isn't happening. Parts of the investigations aren't happening. We can't put him on the commissioner's exempt list. I think it's a whole crock of BS. The same thing with the Daniel Snyder situation, what's happening in Washington. I think that guy should probably be banned from sports like Donald Sterling was. I know there's some dirt on this guy. How do you investigate this guy and all of a sudden the Raiders are the one that get caught out there and now Gruden is gone? It's money. The answer, my friend, Rob the Raider, the answer is money. Follow the money and you get the answers. The same thing with the Kaepernick emails. You'll never see those. Why? Because of money. And I think that Roger Goodell wants to put on a good face like he's this good, amazing commissioner. But behind closed doors, I think there's some dirt that he's doing. And I think that's why this really hasn't been uncovered the full way it needs to. It's almost like Watergate for the National Football League. All right, guys, let's get into why we're really here. Let's get into the game previews and stop the drama. Last week, from the house with AG Magic, my picks, 10-3. I've been pretty good this year. I got to say, I haven't been bad. That one first week was rough, but this was pretty good. We're 65-42 on the season. Straight winners Sunday and Monday. We handicap Thursday nights. Baltimore and Vegas are on the bye. Let's go. Dolphins at Bills. Guys, the Bills are coming off a bye, and they should smash the Miami Dolphins. Josh Allen, the emergence of Zach Moss, and Stephon Diggs, they're going to be too much for this Miami defense, who has absolutely underwhelmed with big-name players making big money. Tua's played better, you know what I mean? But that Miami run game just rotates a bunch of not good backs in and out, and the passing game is uninspiring. Devontae Parker's probably going to get traded here. And I was saying to Spencer before we started, Tua is like Will Smith in that one clip where his dad doesn't want him. The Miami Dolphins, they don't want Tua. They want Deshaun Watson. And all these rumors that are happening, where there's smoke, there's fire, man. Deshaun Watson's going to be a Dolphin. They don't want Tua. It's so sad. They're trying to get rid of Tua like McVay wanted to get rid of Goff. So a few more awful performances here, and Brian Flores is going to be on the hot seat. And this is a guy that had a really good season last year as a head coach for this team. It's looking more like Deshaun Watson's definitely coming here, though, and that might save him. All right? Lots of speculation, lots of whispering. Everyone's reporting, but no one really has anything concrete, solid. You got to wait for Schefter to say it. Schefter's an NFL god. When he drops it, you know it's real.
Do you know if the Dolphins trade for Deshaun Watson, if he can play?
Well, as long as he's not been on the NFL exempt list, I don't see why not. I mean, the investigation is ongoing. But you are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And the last time I checked, this guy is on the team, showing up for practices. He's fourth string and never plays. If they trade for this guy, he might play, which is insane to me. I see guys in fantasy football leagues picking him up. God, that's not a far-fetched assumption that he will see the field this year.
Is this a bad – I mean, if Miami really does that –
they're going to do it.
Okay, what if they trade for him and they say you can't play football? I mean, that would just be the end of the Dolphins franchise for probably 5 years.
That wouldn't happen because they're going to have to give up a grip to get him. They're going to give up the farm to get him. Deshaun Watson's a good player. They're going to give up a lot to get him. So if they're going to go get him, you know it's because they're going to play him. And Tua's going to go to the Houston Texans with a whole bunch of picks and a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of picks next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. You'll have kids, and they'll still be getting picks from this. Okay? So you know that they're going to play the guy, which is egregious. Anyway, I digress. I'm taking Buffalo coming off a tough loss at the hands of the Titans. Okay? The pick is Buffalo here. Take them with confidence. The Buffalo Bills are smashing fools. They look good. They're well-rested. Josh Allen's on an MVP run here. Let's go. Next. Panthers at the Falcons. Boy, remember when we sat here talking about how good Sam Darnold was looking?
He was all right.
He was all right, but I mean,
he looked okay. He looked competent.
He looked competent, and I'm a Sam Darnold guy. I like Sam Darnold. I felt like he got a raw deal with the Jets, but he's really been horrible of late. He was benched last week with no CMC. Carolina looks worse and worse every week. They basically peaked early versus bad teams. That's Carolina in a nutshell right now, okay? And CMC is made of glass. Guys, look at me right now. CMC is done for the season. Don't believe anything you hear coming out of Carolina. By the time that guy's ready to play, they're going to be 5 games under 500, and they'll have no reason to put him out there. I would trade CMC.
I would in a heartbeat. Running backs just don't have as much value
anymore. I would trade
anymore.
CMC for defense and then get a pick and get a running back in the draft. Running backs are
in the third round, and it'll probably be just as productive.
Yep. I mean, we can go over the list of how many great running backs were found in late rounds. You know what I mean? Kareem Hunt was, a third? I mean, you can find great running backs out there.
How's Todd Gurley's career going?
Yeah, you know what
done.
I mean? It's done.
He was the best running back in the league for 2 years.
Makes no sense. You know what I mean? So the emergence of Kyle Pitts is giving the Dirty Birds life, and I think that they beat a Panthers team here that is clearly peaked. They're not doing anything. They're not going anywhere. Matt Ryan's still Matty Ice. He'll be efficient. Cordero Patterson's been a really nice find for them. He'll eat versus a really bad Panther defense. Guys, the pick here is the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta won last week. Now they're going to be on a 2-game winning streak. They're playing the right teams at the right times. They're not going anywhere, but they're going to win 6 or 7 games this year. These are the games that they're going to win. Next, Steelers at the dog pound. All right? Tough division game to call. Now, Nick Chubb should be back after missing time. I saw early this morning that Baker Mayfield's status is now a go. He's going to play. He's got that torn labrum in his left shoulder. That's going to require surgery. But Baker's going to gut it out. Why? Because he wants to be cleared. He wants to play. He wants that big contract. Him and Lamar, those guys will be out there on crutches this year. All right? So the Browns defense should have a decent day versus a very not mobile Big Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben needs to retire, please, for all things that are holy, Ben. Call it a career at the end of this year. Najee Harris is Pittsburgh's only hope versus a Browns club that is gaining confidence now every single week. Pittsburgh has to get Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool involved. Chase Claypool had huge games last year. This year he's been a ghost. You have to get these guys involved if you have any chance of winning, okay? Do it early, do it often, but I really don't see that happening regardless. The pick this week is the Browns in a dog pound. Cleveland has been banged up, but they've been still winning. They're a good team. All right? I like what Kevin Stefanski has done. If they ever get like the Odell problems situation, I think Odell Beckham needs to be traded before the deadline Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is. Get rid of Odell. He's on the wrong team. You know what I mean? Get Jarvis Landry going. Get some picks for him. I think as long as they can run the ball by the time Hunt's ready to come back, they'll be just fine. Take Cleveland all day, every day. Next. The Bengals, my wife's team. She's very happy. Spencer likes the Bengals too. This is going to be an easy win for Cincinnati. Why? Because they're playing the hapless Jets. The Jets are injured everywhere, and they're just punchless every single week. The fact that the Jets beat the Tennessee Titans blows my mind. Okay, Zach Wilson is now out indefinitely. Expect more games where they will be trailing from the door. I mean, they haven't even opened their lockers yet, and they're down 7-0, okay? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, these guys are all eat big, and that Cincinnati defense, which is getting no love from anyone, is going to have a field day. Folks, if Mike White is the answer for New York, we need to ask ourselves, what the hell was the question? See you at the draft, Jet fans. The pick, Cincinnati. Take them with confidence. Who dey? Next, Eagles at the Lions. This is where my Lions get their first win. I can't let this team go all year and not pick them to get a win, and this is where it happens. Both these teams are bad. Detroit's really, really bad, but they play hard for Dan Campbell. This is an emotional, fired-up coach. He loves his team. He's out there in pads. They're not going to go 0-16, and I think they get their first win here versus a very uninspiring, identityless Nick Sirianni-run Eagles team. Nick Sirianni should be fired before I eat another meal. All right, his ineptness at head coach is egregious. It's so bad. TJ Hawkinson, Goff, and the run game will do enough, and they're going to get a 1-point win at home. The Eagles just have no focus, no discipline. They're injured, and at this point, I feel like they're wasting Jalen Hurts and Devonta. I really do. You know, Devonta Smith's a stud. They're wasting this guy. They don't protect Hurts at all. They don't run the ball. Sirianni's over his head. This game will be having fans calling for his head in Philadelphia. The pick is the Lions. Let's roll. 49 is at the Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
I got a bunch of Bears fans at my job. Boy, we talk about how bad they are, but they show promise from time to time. The Bears are a mess. But after winning 2 games in a row, Tampa Bay pushed it in last week on them. Their hairlines went all the way back. And now they're home with a banged-up Khalil Mack, who's probably going to go on IR, and a very underperforming Allen Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, please trade Allen Robinson. Free Allen Robinson. That's the new hashtag. Guys, start typing that everywhere. The guy's a stud. He's such a great player. They just don't use him properly. Justin Fields is asked to do too much to help this guy. They're awful. Free Allen Robinson, please. San Francisco sticking with Jimmy G. Release Jimmy G. That's the next hashtag. I was wrong on him. He looked horrendous Sunday night versus the Colts, and I know the weather was bad. I get that. But Jimmy G has fallen from grace since going to the Super Bowl and basically robbed the San Francisco 49ers with that contract. He's done absolutely nothing except be hurt and turn the ball over. So I think Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel will be the difference for San Francisco, though, in this game. And I think Chicago's going to struggle to move the ball, as usual. You know what I mean? Who's the starting running back right now? And no one knows. I mean, Justin Fields, meet Nick Bosa. That's all you need to know. I'm taking San Francisco, not with a lot of confidence, but I just can't trust the Bears anywhere right now. I How did the Bears beat the Raiders? Good Lord.
It's disgusting. I think about it all the time. They should not have that loss in there.
Good Lord, man. Oh,
Blame John
terrible.
Gruden.
That's terrible.
Everybody's talking about John Gruden now that the Raiders are winning football games, and that loss just looks even worse.
Even worse, man. Horrible. Next. Rams at the Texans, the Los Angeles Rams. Stafford to Cup. Stafford to Cup. Stafford to Cup. That's all I see when I close my eyes. We're not going to waste valuable airtime on this game, okay? Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford. The Rams defense, they're going to dominate a terrible Houston team that is entertaining to watch as like giving a cat a bath. I mean, they're terrible. Even with Tyrod Taylor coming back, designated to return from IR, the pick's going to be the Rams here. The Rams are on a mission, folks. I think if there's any team that can take down the Buccaneers, it's the Rams. They're going to smash Houston 31-13, take them and roll. So we're going to take a little commercial break. Those are the early games. We're going to come back with the late games. My name is Dexter Reed, and we're going to do our Player to Watch segment when we come back before the late games. Stay tuned. You're watching World of Matchups. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about our newest sponsor. Welcome to World of Matchups. Heroes Heating and Air of Medford, Oregon. Folks, Heroes Heating and Air is a family-owned and locally operated business in the Rogue Valley. They provide real hero discounts for all first responders and veterans. Heroes Heating and Air is Southern Oregon's only Rheem Pro partner, and they sell quality home comfort. These are friends of mine. These are good people, and they are doing a great business in the Valley. Call them at 541-821-1615 for all your service needs, or check them out online at heroesheatingandair.com. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Our Player to Watch segment this week is sponsored by Insurance Lounge. Finding an insurance plan that is right for you and your budget can be challenging. However, the team at Insurance Lounge makes it easy. Insurance Lounge offers great plans in all major insurance categories, and as a company, they are committed to bringing simplicity back to insurance. Their focus is on technology and how it can make the insurance shopping and buying experience efficient, fun, convenient, and personalized. As insurance is one of the most important things you can buy to help ensure the safety and protection of yourself, your family, and your assets, they know that you have a lot on your mind when selecting a policy. At Insurance Lounge, they will compare rates across numerous providers and find the best rate and coverage for you. Get a quote today in the most convenient way for you, whether in person, online, or by calling our team at 1-866-459-2166. InsuranceLounge.com. Check it out. Now, it is time for the Player to Watch segment. This week's Player to Watch. A man that is absolutely making a name for himself in the National Football League. Rookie wide receiver, 6'1", 200 pounds of Ja'Marr Chase. Oh my goodness, Spencer, you were 100% right on this. You have been on this guy since day one, and I got caught sleeping. I thought the year off would be problematic. I thought that the drops in preseason between him and Burrow not being on the same page would be problematic. This guy is an absolute nightmare. And this is the game last week where they went into Baltimore and destroyed Baltimore. Let me tell you something. He had 200 yards receiving. This guy could have had 300 yards receiving.
This guy outshined Justin Jefferson in college. So when he's coming to the NFL, I did not let those few drops in preseason deter me from being all over this guy.
Look at him go over the middle. I mean, the Ravens secondary is missing Marcus Peters. I get that. But he's sunning fools out there, okay? He's been catching the ball, cutting, going right into the teeth of the defense, not scared. This is a young man, okay? He just turned 21, and he is making a name for himself like Randy Moss was making a name for himself as a rookie. Folks, Ja'Marr Chase is a player to watch. He is on the rise. Think of Andy Dalton to A.J. Green in their prime. Think of Jeff Blake to Darnay Scott in their prime. This is the field stretcher for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's almost to the point where a guy like T. Higgins has become an afterthought because they just really don't even need him. He's running fools down. Look at the Jets on this guy. He is an absolute matchup nightmare. Ja'Marr Chase, everybody, give this guy his flowers. This is not going to be the first or the last time you hear his name mentioned on World of Matchups. Now, let's roll back into the late games. Jags at the Seahawks. Boy, Jacksonville is awful. Coming off a bye. But let's be honest, so is Seattle. Boy, so many Seattle fans think their team is good. That team is not good. They're terrible. Okay? Now, the way I'm talking about them, we would make you think that I'm not going to take them here, but I have to take them. Why? Because I don't trust Jacksonville. Urban Meyer's a mess. They're handling Trevor Lawrence wrong. Pete Carroll overthinks every single situation, has zero faith in Geno Smith. If you have zero faith in the guy, why is he on your team? Okay, 7 straight runs in the rain in a highly contested contest that you could have won at home. Throw the ball. Tyler Lockett, you have DK Metcalf, you got Gerald Everett. What are you doing, Pete Carroll? My goodness. They haven't been the same since they threw in the Super Bowl and lost the Super Bowl in that throw. They have not been the same. Somebody prove me wrong. Come on, World of Matchups. Let's go at it. I will flame you.
They traded their whole offensive line for Jimmy Graham back in the day. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They gave up like all-pro
And
centers
everybody was
stuff.
excited about it. The guy did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they found out really quick how important an offensive line is.
No offensive line, no wins. So, they don't use DK and they don't use Tyler properly, sadly. Trevor Lawrence is going to have problems, however, being productive because the Seattle defense should stack the box and just dare him to throw, okay? I never like rookie quarterbacks on the road in hostile environments like that. James Robinson can keep them in the game, but ultimately Seattle will finally throw the ball this week after hearing the Boo Birds raining down on Monday Night Football. Take Seattle to defend the 12th man versus a very gross Jacksonville team. The pick here was the Seattle Seahawks. And, of course, Jacksonville will find a way to win because that's how it is. I think I've picked Seattle once right in the last 10 years. Next, Pats at Chargers. Now, this is a game that I remember, man. Pepperidge Farm remembered this game, okay? The last time these two met, it was the worst point differential in the L.A. Chargers history as they got absolutely steamrolled, okay, on my birthday last year in their own building. That game was 45-0. Cam Newton flew across the country, 3,000 miles, and they absolutely destroyed Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Now, the Chargers, after getting murked by Baltimore, have been rested, and they're going to be ready to roll on versus a very weak offense of the Patriots. The Patriots are winning game, but their offense is disgusting. Okay? It really is. I mean, I know Damian Harris has been doing some things on the ground, but they haven't looked good since they played Tampa Bay. All right? Mac Jones will be outdone by Justin Herbert. It's just that simple. Easily. Expect all the LA skill players to have great days here. The Charger defense will be a difference maker. And be clear, these guys do not forget bad losses. These football players have short memories. You say stuff on Twitter, they remember. Bad losses, they remember. What happened in the club, they remember. Okay? This is my bet for that reason alone. I'm taking the Chargers. I can't see them coming home off a bye to a team that can't move the ball and lose this game. Now, the Charger run D is the one thing you got to be careful of here. They give up like 5 yards a carry. And what does the Patriots like to do? Run the football. But I say stack the box. Who are they throwing to? Jacoby Myers can play in the NFL for 15 years and not score a touchdown. All the guy does is catch balls. He's just a PPR magnet. But he never gets in the box. Take the San Diego Superchargers here all day, every day, twice on Sunday. Bets. Let's roll. Next. Buccaneers at the Saints. This could have easily been game of the week, okay? But I deferred. New Orleans won a very hard-fought game on Monday Night Football, and Alvin Kamara looks like Alvin Kamara again. This guy's such a good player when he's used correctly. I was doing some research on Kamara this week, and I realized that this is the first time that they're actually giving him the bell cow treatment. Normally, he only gets like 150 carries a year. He's already at like 110. They're letting this guy go. Now they bring in Mark Ingram, which is a match made in heaven. He played there before, so now you have someone competent to spell Kamara. But they're finally realizing that this guy is the best player on their team, and if they want to win, put him in. It's like Boobie Miles in Friday Night Lights. Like, you want to win, let Kamara spin, okay? And finally, Sean Payton has maybe got his vision checked. Jameis Winston was acting like the leader of the Saints team Monday. Man, he was yelling at guys. He was getting in guys' faces. He didn't play that great, but it showed that he is committed to being out there and making this happen. Now, that mentality, and I think the revenge narrative is in play here. Everybody's going to be on Tampa Bay's bandwagon. Everybody except me. I know the 600 touchdown pass has got everyone hyped up. They gave the guy a Bitcoin, all this back and forth banter and malarkey coming out of Tampa Bay about last week's drubbing. You know, everyone's all fired up. Oh, they're going to go destroy the Saints. I don't think so. Home dogs pay dividends in the National Football League. These are two of the best run defenses in the league, and I think that the better pass defense is in New Orleans. Now, Tom Brady hasn't really been rattled this year. I think it happens here. Antonio Brown is banged up. Gronk's going to play, and this is where they could have a distinct advantage with Gronk, because Gronk is back, and there's probably no better red zone threat in the National Football League in the history of the game than Gronk, at least at that size. But I think the Saint D is slept on ridiculously, and they don't get their flowers. Their fan base is going to show up as well. You know this. Certain fan bases always show up. You know what I mean? New Orleans, Kansas City, Seattle, they're going to be there. And it's leading me to believe that they're going to win a very close game versus the champs. Player to watch is Marshawn Lattimore, man. This guy got paid. He was hurt, came back. Now he's healthy. But with him and DK Metcalf, run that film of him and DK. Him and DK were going after it last week. And he's not scared, man. And DK Metcalf is the black Chuck Norris. You know what I mean? Like, he's giving him the work. He's letting him know, yo, this is not going to be an easy night for you, son. And outside of one big play, he kind of held him in check. And we all know, if you know anything about this rivalry between these two teams, he owns Mike Evans. Owns. So if you take Mike Evans away, if you can just keep a spy on Gronk and just get Kamara involved and Jameis don't turn the ball over, I see New Orleans winning this game. I think after being punked by Metcalf, expect Lattimore to lock Evans down and show out. The pick is the New Orleans Saints. Don't be scared to make these picks. Home dogs pay dividends. Let's roll. I'm so happy to be back in this seat, Spencer.
Back in business.
I'm fired.
We're back.
I'm fired up right now. My blood pressure is like 170 over 100. Let's roll.
You like that? You like that?
Washington football team at the Denver Broncos. WFT. Tale of two teams circling the toilet bowl. Washington is terrible and heavily injured everywhere. Denver has dropped 4 straight in a row after beating 3 cupcakes, and they're finally going to get a cupcake on their schedule again. Their defense is going to show up and show out. This is the week. Taylor Heinecke is bad. It is what it is. I think Cam Newton should have been called. I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick is coming back. Gibson is hurt. They got a shin injury with this guy. He's going to be questionable all season long, in and out of the lineup all season long. And I think this is a bad spot for them. Their defense has been the biggest letdown of the National Football season, next to Brandon Ayuk's sophomore slump. Jerry Jeudy's back. He's off IR. You know Jerry Jeudy's a fan favorite of mine. We love Jerry Jeudy. I don't think that people are giving Javonte Williams enough of his flowers. He's progressing. It's just one Melvin Gordon injury away from being the Javonte Williams show in Denver. And Vic Fangio is coaching for his job. Make no mistake. He's a DC playing HC, and he shouldn't be. Nothing else needs to be said here. The pick will be the Denver Broncos. Take them with confidence and roll. Sunday Night Football. Cowboys at the Vikings. This is going to be a good game. Man, they've gotten the marquee matchups right this year. Thursday Night Football's been good. Monday Night Football's been good. Sunday Night Football's been good.
I think that's what makes football so good, because basketball season starting up, a lot of their primetime games are blowouts, and there's nothing they can do. Football finds a way to just, I don't know.
They've been good this year, man. I got to give, I give the NFL a lot of heat, but when they're right, I got to show them some love. Okay, so Dallas is coming off a bye, and they're going to be ready to go blow for blow with the Vikings, who have a great offense of their own. All right? Expect the skill players on both sides of the ball to play well. This is a fantasy matchups wet dream for both teams. Dak, Lamb, Zeke, even Dalton Schultz, throw him in there. They'll do their best to outdo Cook, Cousins, Thielen, and Jefferson. At the end of the day, I like Dallas here. Why? Because they play defense. 2 guys have made the difference. Javon Diggs and Micah Parsons. It's amazing how you can infuse new talent into a defense and get a defensive coordinator to get them to buy in, and they'll look completely different than last year. And the Vikings don't play defense, okay? Expect those Viking corners to be absolutely abused. And Dallas is going to move the chains on the ground with Zeke and Pollard, and they're going to control the time of possession here, and that's going to be the difference maker in this game. The Dallas hype train is moving 100,000 miles per hour right now, and I'm on board, okay? I'm on board until they have to win a huge playoff game with Mike McCarthy as coach. That's when I'm like, not so sure. But right now, it's all aboard from World of Matchups. The pick this week is America's team. Take the Dallas Cowboys and go to Sizzler. Next, Monday Night Football. Oh. I'm about to blow up here.
Frustrated, I feel it coming on.
Don't you do it, young man.
I think I'm gonna go bananas.
Do not go bananas.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna go bananas.
The New York Football Giants at the Kansas City Chiefs. I picked against Kansas City Chiefs for the first time in 3 years last week, and they made me look like Negro Damas. They are awful, and I'm going to go on a rant here in a minute. I like them to win, however, just because the Giants are just absolutely awful. They're injured. The defense is injured. The offensive line is injured. Saquon Barkley probably won't travel. Expect Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey. They're going to have a field day against a decimated New York Giants defense. The Chiefs are good enough to beat bad teams, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Them being 10-point favorites, though, I'm not so sure about, but I'm going to get to that in a second. The question is can the Kansas City defense be found at any point this season? I mean, maybe I'll call Dog the Bounty Hunter because they are hiding like they have felony warrants. They're stealing money. I'm taking Kansas City on talent alone. I'm not sleeping on Daniel Jones because I like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, to me, is a quarterback who can play football in a bad situation. But his talent's not going to be enough, okay? Spencer will be bailing me out of jail Tuesday morning if the Chiefs lose this game. I'm telling you right now, you will definitely see me on News 12 Las Vegas. The Chiefs are currently only good enough to beat good teams. I'm taking them on talent alone. The pick, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, before we go into a commercial break here and get ready for our Game of the Week and special guests, I've been holding back on really letting fly on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is my team. I love this team. I will always be a fan. But what I'm not is I'm not a homer. Okay? I'm not going to just swallow anything that comes out of Kansas City and take it as gospel and be okay with what's happening. And I'll be the first person to tell you that, like, I believe that it's time for Andy Reid to move on. A lot of people will disagree with me. Andy Reid's a great coach. Oh, my God. He's a Hall of Fame coach. Oh, my God. He's got a Super Bowl win. Oh, my God. Look what he's done with 2 different franchises. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And I get all that. And don't get me wrong. I'm really grateful for what Andy Reid has done in Kansas City. He turned this franchise around. There's a Super Bowl win on his resume now. But let's also look at what has happened, okay? The Chiefs are absolutely soft team. They're a bunch of cupcakes. They're a bunch of marshmallows. They have turned into the Green Bay Packers of the AFC. And I'm not even so sure I could say that anymore, Spencer, because Green Bay looked good last night. But when the Chiefs get punched in the mouth, they fold like a house of cards. The Chiefs are soft because their coach is soft. There's no discipline or accountability at all. And we need to start looking at what's happening here because they're a finesse team that if things don't go their way, they fall apart really fast. And it's unbelievable to think how bad this thing has gone south. But we need to look at some off-the-field things that have happened with this team. Ever since Britt Reed and the DUI took place a couple weeks before the Super Bowl, the Chiefs have not been the same. What's the Chiefs' quality win in the last 10 games? Can someone tell me that answer? It's not a quality win versus the Eagles. The Washington football team? Cleveland at home? Cleveland almost beat you that game. You guys got to get this together. We need to start talking about fundamentals on how to tackle. Steve Spagnuolo needs to be fired. I sent you a clip of Chris Jones. Do you have that? If you have it, I'd like to see it. The guys aren't playing well. Frank Clark got paid for $100 million to have 3 sacks. Chris Jones being moved around, that's been an absolute nightmare. This team is an absolute dumpster fire right now. And I'm here to tell you, if they don't go out and blast the Giants 31-3 on Monday, this team's not making the playoffs, and they will be no better than an 8 or 9 win team. And it hurts my heart to even say that because they are supposed to be going back to the Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, when things are going wrong in this country, who do we point the finger at? We point the finger at Joe Biden. And so we have to look at Andy Reid and his ineptness here. when the defense is getting their shit pushed in, excuse my French. God, I'm so mad right now.
Robert better not get in my face, because I'll drop that motherfucker.
Where's Andy Reid? Andy Reid is on the sidelines talking to Patrick Mahomes. Coaching is coaching all three phases of football. And we have this gem in Eric Bieniemy where he's going to leave. The fact that he's still a Chief is hard to even believe to me. And he's going to leave when I feel like he's been groomed to be the next head coach. I would let Andy Reid go after the season. Thank you for your service. And I know a lot of you Chief fans out there think I'm delusional. Maybe I am. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I have no friends, so I'm fine. I'll lose friends. It doesn't matter to me. But we need to look at this. Patrick Mahomes, tell your wife and your mom to shut up. Tell your brother he can't dance. X Factor getting punched in the mouth, in the stadium. All these distractions, these things end up on the field. I'm sorry, but we have to start talking about these things. We have to take a look at all the off-field distractions. Daniel Sorensen being on this team is an absolute joke. At what point do we say we're going to stop wearing gaiters and put on a pair of Timbs? This is a proud franchise that is just horrible right now. And I'm here to tell you, I live and die with this team. You better smash the Giants on Monday night. Why do we have Josh Gordon on this team? Really? Why are we going after Melvin Ingram? Why are we trying to trade for Melvin Ingram when he was in the building and you could have friggin' signed him? Why? I digress because I'm about to throw my mic through that door over there. You got the Raiders coming up on your schedule. You got the Packers coming up on your schedule. You know how important these games are. I will be in Allegiant Stadium for Raiders Chiefs. If you lose that game, I might have to move out of Las Vegas. You guys are being put on notice. Get it together now. Now, we're going to take a little commercial break. Thank you for allowing me to rant. I'm a passionate fan, and I can't help it sometimes. We're going to come back with our game of the week and special guest, goal booster, friend of the show, Mr. Lenny King. We're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Stay tuned. You've been watching World of Matchups. My name is Dexter Reed. See you on the flip. All right, everybody, welcome back to World of Matchups. This is the part of the show that we love the most, our game of the week. This week's game of the week is going to be the Tennessee Titans going to the Indianapolis Colts. My good friend and gold sponsor, Lenny King, is joining us right now from here in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's take a second and welcome him in, everybody. Mr. Lenny King. Hey, man, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Dex.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate the way you've sewn into World of Matchups, and we look forward to continuing having you on. So let's talk about this matchup. This is not a matchup that anybody would have really thought would have been a game of the week matchup, but I picked it solely because these are two teams that I didn't think were going to be very good, but all of a sudden they're showing a lot of promise. Carson Wentz is playing well. Derrick Henry and the Titans, they're playing well. What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I had a different view from you from the beginning, especially for the Titans. When I looked at that roster, on the offense especially, I actually thought they were probably one of the leaders in AFC. I mean, it's like pick your poison. Do you want to stop the run with Derrick Henry, or do you want to try to stop your two top wide receivers who both could end up in the Hall of Fame eventually? So they're an interesting team. They're well balanced, but anytime you have Derrick Henry, it's a situation. It's like it's hard to be underdog, especially going against the
I
Colts.
agree. I mean, Derrick Henry, I think, is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of player. Anytime you have a defensive end playing running back like that, he's basically a football Frankenstein. I mean, he is the straw that stirs the drink for the Titan offense. And I think that this kind of reminds me of when Eddie George and the Titans went in and played in the playoffs. They played Manning and the Edgerrin James led Indianapolis Colts, and a lot of people think that the Colts might win this game because Wentz has been playing so much better, and Jonathan Taylor, definitely we have to talk about him a little bit too. But I like the Titans here. I like the Titans to win a close one simply because of Derrick Henry, and no one's going to be able to stop them. And while the Titans defense is bad, in my mind, they've been playing a lot better lately. They've been playing a lot better lately.
Well, I think people sleep. I think people sleep on Harold Landry. He's not talked about around the league, but he's already got 7.5 sacks for the year. I don't know if that's close to leading the league or pretty close, but that's a lot of sacks for where we are in this point of the year. And he's an awesome player. Their secondary is very weak. Their safeties are very weak. So they do give up big chunks of plays. But that's where I think Wentz can take advantage of them. But I think Wentz, if you look at him from the Philadelphia days to where he is now, they don't utilize the tight end nowhere near as much. And that's particularly probably because they don't really have a star at that position like they had in Philadelphia. But Wentz is definitely as a product of Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich knows what he does well and what he can't do well. And I think that he's limited those risk-taking chances that got Carson Wentz knocked out of Philadelphia.
And I tend to agree. And I'm no lover of Wentz. I make fun of Wentz a lot, and I've been really poo-pooing and throwing dirt on his grave since day one. But he managed to get past the injuries, and Frank Reich's done a great job with him. And all of a sudden, without real stars, I mean, Michael Pittman's an ascending star, but Jonathan Taylor is really taking care of Carson Wentz the way that Nick Sirianni really needs to find a running back to do that for a guy like Jalen Hurts. Wentz looks unstoppable. He looked like the Wentz of old. That run he had on Sunday night, I mean, he got up and
I thought he was going to get clobbered.
He was fired up. I was like, this looks like the Wentz of the year he got hurt. And let's be honest, Carson Wentz would have been MVP that season they won the Super Bowl. He would have. Absolutely. He was having a phenomenal year. So if all of a sudden he's ascending to that spot again, we might have to take the Colts as a serious threat. This was a coin flip game for me, and I only took the Titans because I think Derrick Henry is just going to be too much for them. What do you think about Wentz and the Jonathan Taylor combo on Sunday?
Well, I look at it even further with the running backs. If you look at their running back depth, they have 3 starting running backs. With Himes, and then you have Mac Taylor, too. And then you have Mac Brown.
Marlon Mack.
Any of those guys can start for Marlon Mack. Any of those guys can start in the NFL for any other team. Jonathan Taylor, I was high on him, and I drafted him last year as a rookie, coming out of college out of Wisconsin. He was just the speed, the size, the vision. He's just got it all, and now they're having him. I think he's 3rd on the team in reception, so he's actually picking up in the pass game. But yeah, with him and Wentz, again, I think once they get a legitimate tight end and then a legitimate receiver, I like Pittman, and I think T.Y. Hilton will help a little bit. But although I think he's kind of past his prime at this point, they don't really have anybody that scares you or a threat. But they're such a scrappy team, and then you look at the guard. You got Nelson, who's probably the best guard in football. With him, Taylor, Wentz, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be. They're going to score
points. There'll be points in this game, but I think it'll definitely be a 2 or 3 point game. Who is your player to watch that no one might be watching in this game as a difference maker on Sunday?
Oh, I already blew my load when I said Harold Landry. Because that guy. And you can turn on the NFL Network. You can break down games. You can read all the reports on CBS Sports and stuff. They never mention his name, which is shocking to me how good that guy is.
He's a gem.
He is a gem. With the Colts, I really believe they need to get Doyle a lot more involved in the passing game. You don't have the receivers You have a guy that can go up the seam and help Jonathan Taylor out in the running game, help those receivers out. T.Y. Hilton has some speed. You can actually even say Hilton at this point. He's coming back from a long injury. This week. I think he came back last week, but I'm not sure how much he played.
He's back, yeah.
Yeah. But he's back. I mean, he's got to be some type of factor. If he can get back to even 75% form, he could have an impact on the game because he's their fastest receiver. So I would say Hilton.
I was going to say old man Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle is just solid. He doesn't do any one thing particularly well, but he'll catch a touchdown for you. His hands are sure, and I just don't understand why Carson Wentz is not using that tight end. Mo Alley Cox is another guy. They've got a double tight end set, just kind of like what he was running when he was in Philadelphia, but you just don't see them using it enough. Another player or players, I would say, would be a real difference maker if the Colts were to find a way to pull this one out. It's going to be their linebacking core. They're going to have to swarm to the ball, man. They're going to have to find a way to get that guy on the ground. Derrick Henry is a Greyhound bus on a highway, and their linebackers are a little undersized and small. You know what I mean? So those DNs, those guys chipping, they're going to need help. And if they can get to him and get him down, I mean, even the Chiefs slowed him down a little. I think he had like 23 carries for like 86 rushes. That's a win versus Derrick Henry. If the Colts can do that, they might actually win this game. Do I think they're going to do that? I don't, based on what I saw versus San Francisco in the rain last week. But you never know. This is basically a coin flip game. I like the Titans. I like them 27-24 final. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I even think it might even go higher because in the 30s, both teams. And the reason I say that is if you look at the linebacking core for the Colts, I mean, you have Leonard and then you have a couple other guys that are just there. They're going to have to bring the safeties down to stop Derrick Henry, and that's going to open up that's going to expose their cornerbacks, so, Yasin and Rodgers to cover, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. That's a tough matchup. That's
a tough ask.
Yeah, it's a very tough ask. So it's I think we're looking probably like I like a 35-31 game somewhere around in there.
I like it too, man. Lucas Oil Stadium, I've been there. Really nice stadium. I spent 7 weeks in Indianapolis when I used to work for the NFL. They got good people. They love their Colts, man. But I just don't see it. I think, like you just mentioned, guys like A.J. Brown are going to eat. Henry's just going to open up the whole field for them. And asking those quarterbacks to be on an island like that versus guys like that are, JJ is still a stud. They're going to be in big trouble. All right, cool. Let's. It'd be wrong of me not to bring you on the show and not give you an opportunity to talk about your squad. Ladies and gentlemen, Lenny is a diehard Washington Redskin fan and football team fan.
I suffer.
Right now he's suffering, but I always like to give everybody their 5 minutes of fame when it comes to talking about their team, whether they need to vent or just kind of open their eyes of everyone else to things that we may not see because we are not following the team like they are. So the floor is yours, man. What the hell is wrong with this team and the defense?
It's concerning, but the way I look at it is you have Jack Del Rio as your defensive coordinator, and everybody's been crapping on him lately. But you know what? That man has a lot of credibility around the league for being one of the best defensive coordinators. But if you go back and look at the teams that he was successful on, he ran a 3-4. When he had Von Miller and all those guys, he ran a 3-4. He is running Ron Rivera's defense, a 4-3 defense, and Ron Rivera's motto is play the run on your way to the quarterback. They're doing, and they're finding themselves out of lanes, out of gaps.
You're getting beat bad.
You're getting beat bad, and then you got, Jamin Davis was our first round pick who was supposed to be a stud. I think he will be eventually, but if you look at him, he never started a day in college. He started one game his junior year, and then he started senior year and blew up. Well, that's just not enough football to go to the NFL and think you're going to be any good. So it's going to take him probably 2 years. And he's an athletic freak, but they are just out of position. They don't have the linebacking core. That's their weakest point. They can't stop the run.
Bad too,
and then the secondary, they're playing man to man, and if you can't get to the quarterback fast enough, you know what happens.
Yeah.
So
I got a
you're
question
in
for
trouble.
you, man. Why is Cam Newton not on the Washington football team right now?
Because he's no better than Taylor Heinecke.
Yeah.
I mean, no. He knows the system.
I mean, Ron
would say
Rivera,
he
Cam
knows the
Newton.
system.
I mean, I think Heineke is terrible. I think Fitzpatrick's not better, and he's not coming back either.
No. I honestly, I don't understand why they don't put Kyle Allen in. I thought he's always played serviceable for them. He hasn't. He's not a tremendous upgrade, but he knows the offense. He's been in it 6-7 years. He knows it very well. He's got a bigger arm than Heineke. That's what Heineke struggles with. He doesn't have the arm. He can't make the throws. So he finds himself throwing late, and that's when he gets picked. Is he a baller? Is he a gamer?
He's got a great attitude.
I mean, that's what Cam Newton is. Cam Newton is a baller, but he's not a great quarterback. I mean, we've seen it year in year. I mean, the 1 year they went to the Super Bowl, he probably led the team in rushing. I mean, that's what he was known for. He's not a guy where it's timing throws. He was never good at that.
I think you guys are wasting McLaurin. I think McLaurin is the Allen Robinson of the Washington football team, and I think you're making a big mistake. Antonio Gibson's got a shin injury that's going to last all season, and it doesn't get better by playing. I think these are some bad moves that you're making. And, Rob the Raider mentioned the other day in the chat that he thought that the only reason that Ron Rivera is still on the team is because he overcame cancer. So you got a bunch of different messy things happening. The Daniel Snyder thing, it's got to be tough being a –
Well, he just got there last year.
I mean, you got to give the guy give him some time. But, yeah, it's been bad. And, the proverbial black cloud that's hanging over Washington right now is not helping. But I tell you.
That's the thing. That's another thing. I think that players are looking at the PR stuff too much. I think that it's, affecting their preparation, their play. I think it affects the entire team. I mean, until Snyder sells it, because eventually that report's going to come to somebody's hands for the Washington Post or something like that, or the Athletics. They're going to get a hold of it, and then once they get a hold of it, somebody's going to get it, and it's going to be another Donald Sterling kind of situation.
I just said that to Spencer.
He's going to.
The only reason it hasn't come out yet is because Daniel Snyder has billions. There's a difference between millions and billions.
That's correct.
And you're seeing it right now. And money is power. And like I said, it's like the NFL Watergate. And it's sad to see because there is promise on that Washington football team. There's good players. I've got a bunch of them in fantasy. I kind of watch what they're doing. Chase Young's a stud. McLaurin's a stud. Gibby's a stud. You know what I mean? McKissick's a stud. They got players, but you need a quarterback. Who's the quarterback that you would want coming out of this year's draft?
The Pickett guy out of Pittsburgh.
I like Pickett.
He's prototypical. He's figured it out. He's like a Joe Burrow kind of guy where it took him a while to figure it out, and now it feels like he's been at Pitt
5 years.
5 years.
He'd be good. He'd be good on Washington.
Or whatever it's been.
Your draft pick's not going to be super high, but you could get him.
Well, I don't know. We may lose every game going forward. We just. We cannot get off the field on third downs, and I can't figure that out. They'll get everybody in 3rd and 13, and then they'll complete it. But what I wanted to mention is that Jeff Bezos is just waiting for this team to sell. Just waiting. He's sitting right there in Washington D.C. ready to buy it.
The Amazon football team.
That happens.
Oh.
If that happens,
have money to spend. You can buy yourself a team.
Well, and that guy, so no matter what he touches, it turns to gold.
Maybe he
so
can come touch.
I think he'd be a good owner.
Guys. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. We appreciate you sewing into World of Matchups the way you have financially coming on the show. We'll definitely have you on again. We thank you for helping me break down the matchups. And, man, we're praying for that Washington football team to get better. I just went on an epic rant on the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys like you and me, we love our teams. Like with everything we have. Most people will never really understand how you can love your team with every fiber of your being, but like it matters. Like me, like Spencer with the Vegas Raiders, I mean, it's everything. So we understand where you're at. I've been where you're at, and I hope that there's some sunnier days ahead for you, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause and thank him for coming on the show, Mr. Lenny King. Lenny, I'll talk to you, man. Thanks again. You take care. Happy Halloween to you and the kids, man. We'll talk to you.
All right.
All right, guys. That was our Game of the Week breakdown. It was nice having Lenny on. Let's go over my picks for the week before we close this week's show out. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills, the Atlanta Falcons, the Brownies, the Bengals, the Titans. Touchdown, Titans!
Touchdown, Titans!
The Lions, the San Francisco 49ers, the LA Rams, the Seahawks. My best bet this week is going to be the LA San Diego Superchargers, the Saints in an upset, the Broncos, the Cowboys, and my Kansas City Chiefs. Folks, we are all over social media. You can check us out and find us at grabittelevision.com. We are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Literally just type in World of Matchups and watch the magic happen. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you liking and subscribing to our YouTube page. This keeps you informed when any new content drops. Listen, have a great Halloween. It's been a long time since Halloween fell on us NFL Sunday. All treats. Our tricking days are over. Black cats inside. And remember that you are watching the most comprehensive and progressive National Football League television show to hit the big screen this season. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Grab It Television, to my right, Spencer the Wiz, you have been watching World of Matchups. We'll see you guys next week. Take care and stay safe.